If you've read any business book, you know it all comes down to the same things. Your business is built from your beliefs, which impact your actions, and the most important of those actions need to become habits. Habits are the things that you do without thinking, without trying too hard, and they form the backbone of whatever you build in your business. Your habits build your success or your failure. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 176 with me, Tara Swiger. I realized by writing last week's episode about limiting yourself and what you believe you're capable of doing that a lot of it comes down to habits. And in nearly every business book I've ever talked about here on the podcast, it all comes back to habits. So in the book, The Slight Edge, the author gives us 7 habits that lead towards success, and we're going to talk about those today. But in Tim Ferriss's book, Tools of the Titans, he talks about a few of the habits that he sees that come up when he interviews high-performing people over and over. Things like meditating, working out daily, keeping to-do lists, being grateful. And of course, there's the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I don't actually think I've read, but is on my shelf there behind me. So all of these books about habits of people who have met their goal, they just reinforce what we talked about last week. It's habits that determine most of the actions that you do, and your daily actions build up. So what we talked about last week with The Slight Edge was that those habits build up over time and they actually create your life. They create the foundation of your life, and they're either going to take you to success or they're going to take you to failure. Now, I'm going to say success over and over in this episode because that's the only kind of word I think that encompasses what we're talking about here, but I do not mean a certain amount of money, a certain amount of sales, a certain amount of notoriety. I do not mean anything specific. I mean your definition of success. What do you want to get out of your business? What do you want to get out of your life? That's success. What do you not want to experience? That's failure. For a lot of people, their definition of success might be entirely different than yours, and their idea of failure might actually be your idea of success. So one example is that I do not want to have a traditional job, but getting a traditional job and climbing the corporate ladder is a lot of people's ideas of success. If that's the kind of life I had, I would consider it a failure. So there is no one definition we're working from. Whatever it is for you, whatever you most value, that's what I want you to think of when I say success. So right now, bring to your mind your definition of success. Is it time freedom? Is it money freedom? Is it a certain amount of sales each month? Is it being published in a certain magazine? Is it sitting across from Oprah? Are you sitting across from her at a dinner you got invited to, or are you on her show? So what is your idea of success? So now let's talk about the habits that will take you closer to that idea or an ideal. So the habits that I find in every successful maker, artist, wellness advocate, entrepreneur, everybody I've ever worked with, they can be summed up in the habits that are in The Slight Edge. So I actually made a list of the things that I think most people do, and then I was reading The Slight Edge, and I was like, oh, almost all of those are the same. So we're going to go over those. They also are things that just come up again and again when I'm working with people. They're usually not doing one of these things, or when I am struggling and I'm feeling down about my business, it's because I'm failing to do one of these things. Number 1, show up. Just decide you're going to do it. Show up for it over and over and over. Literally, the very first thing you need to do to have a business is decide you have a business. You need to show up for it. It's the absolute first step, and until you decide to go all in, it's never just going to magically happen. You can absolutely do it part-time in nights and weekends, but go all in on doing it part-time. You can work for just 3 hours a week on your business if that's what you're going to do, but go all in on those 3 hours. You're not going to have a business until you make that decision. I actually talk more about this in the episode, Do You Have a Hobby or Do You Have a Business? One of the primary indicators that you have a hobby over a business is that you've never done this. You've never decided to show up. So decide to show up. There's this great quote from Anne Lamott that I love saying, hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait and watch and work. You don't give up. That's basically it. Like, we could just drop the mic, walk away. That's what it takes to have a business. You wait and you watch and you work and you show up and you do the right thing. So the second habit is that you're consistent. Show up every day again and again and again consistently. So this is the advice if you want to grow your Instagram audience, if you want to increase your email list, if you want to get more clients, if you want to get accepted into more craft shows, if you want to sell any product, if you wanted to get invited to do cool things like speak at conferences or travel the world or whatever. Consistency. You have to be consistently showing up, period. And good news, if you're like, I need to learn more about consistency, I talk about consistency all the time. So at the beginning of the year, in episode 137, I suggested that we make 2017 the year of consistency. And lots of you actually decided to join me in that. And you said, this is the year I'm going to become consistent in my email list or my Instagram. Now when you're starting out in an area, become consistent in just that one area. Then you're going to layer on other areas that you're consistent with. So like I consistently send my email, so I can work on being consistent on Instagram. Once I'm consistent on Instagram, I can worry about being consistent on Instagram stories. So you can go back and listen to episode 137 if you want to learn more about making your goal consistency. And then I also go into how consistency can absolutely transform your business in both episodes 141 and episodes 113. Now, I've linked to all of these episodes in the show notes. You're going to find that at taraswiger.com/podcast176. taraswiger.com/podcast176. So if you decided to make 2017 the year of consistency, now is the time to ask yourself, how's that going? And if you haven't thought about consistency yet, and you haven't really been applying that principle to any area of your life or business, now is the time to think about it. Now is the time to become consistent. Don't wait for the new year. Don't wait for the new month. Decide now. Make a list of actions. It's my best advice for you on consistency. Make a list of actions that if you did them every single day, it would change your business over 6 to 12 months. Not in the short term, in the long term, which we'll talk about in a minute. But if you did those actions every day or every week and you got consistent with them, how would your business transform? So for some businesses, this is talking to new people. This is meeting new people. For other businesses, this is applying to craft shows. For many of you, this is listing new products. Making and listing new products is a thing you have to become consistent with before you worry about becoming consistent with your marketing. So you don't have products, the marketing doesn't matter. Now, the third habit is to be aware of what you're looking for. I've rewritten this one a little bit to apply more to us. So like we talked about last week, your brain seeks to prove its own predictions all the time. It's making predictions about what's going to happen, then it's trying to prove them. And it does this by filtering out your whole environment all the time. You're filtering out all of the possible input you could be getting because you just can't absorb it all. But the important question is, what is the filter you're using? So when it comes to success failure, reaching your goals, not reaching your goals, are you looking for examples of how you've messed up, how you failed, how you've been a doofus? Are you looking for examples for other people who have let you down or disappointed you or been dishonest? Or are you looking for examples of succeeding and reaching goals and celebrating? Or you remember when you did a great job or you landed the gig or you made somebody laugh? So be aware of what you keep noticing and what you keep seeing and remembering. That's going to tell you what your filter is. So if I spend a day and all I see are all of the ways I've recently messed up, then I realize my filter is switched to the look for all the ways you're a total screw up. And so I'm going to see more of that. And this habit is actually can go either way. This habit of seeing more of all the ways I've screwed up, what's that going to do for my confidence? It's going to kill me. It's going to totally crush my confidence. So then am I going to be able to show up consistently? Am I going to do the marketing I need to do? Am I going to talk to the people I need to talk to? No, because I'm a doofus and I make mistakes. But if you shift that filter and you decide to look through the filter of, okay, I just messed up. That just went badly. But hey, it doesn't always go badly. What are some of the ways that I've succeeded in this business? And you might think, well, Tara, you've been doing business for over 10 years, so of course you have a million examples. But the fact is you do too. You have examples in your life of where you succeeded, where you failed. The question is, which ones are you focusing on? This, in so many ways, determines if you believe that you are capable of doing the thing, and believing that you're capable of doing the thing is so vital to you doing the thing. You simply won't take action if you don't believe it's possible, which we'll talk about it in a minute. But you won't believe it's possible if you keep filtering through all of the ways that it's not possible. So you can become aware of what you're noticing and what you're looking for by noticing what keeps coming up, what you keep remembering, and what you keep seeing. So if you're nervous to go to a craft show or a networking event, are you remembering all the times you've babbled incoherently, or you got spinach stuck in your teeth? Or are you remembering all the times you made someone laugh, or you met your best new customer? So you're going to find more of what you focus on. So shift your focus to what you want more of in your life, because you are going to find more of whatever you focus on. Now, the fourth habit, be committed for the long haul. Success, remember, however you define success, it's not going to happen in one day. Sorry, not going to happen. You're not going to build an audience. You're not going to build a sustainable business. You're not going to create a great relationship in one single day or even 1 month. But you know this, right? Everybody knows, oh no, you can't build a happy relationship in 1 month and that lasts forever. It takes time before you know that. And you can't build a super sustainable business in 1 month, no matter how many blog posts are written about $100,000 launch days. You know that it takes longer than that. But do you really, really believe it in your bones? Because until you do, you're going to be constantly frustrating that it's taking so freaking long to make your dreams come true and that it's not all happening right this minute. So you have to deeply believe this and remind yourself of this all the time. I'm in it for the long haul. And if you decide today that you're in it for the long haul or not, you'll have an easier time being consistent because you're not going to be disappointed when you don't get immediate results. And that consistency is what's going to lead to better results. Because we don't need immediate results. We need the best results, like the good outcomes. So most of us are familiar with Malcolm Gladwell's thing that he talks about in Outliers, the 10,000 hour rule. Studies show that to become truly world-class at anything, you need to spend 10,000 hours doing it, practicing it. That's 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year for 5 years. Now, you may not need to be world-class at whatever your business is, right? You can have a super successful business by being like the 5th world class. You don't need to be the #1 bestest ever, but you certainly want to get better at what you're doing. And your business would grow if you're better at what you're doing. And this could be the actual craft of your business, the skill of what you do. It could also be the way you market it, the way you talk to customers, the way you communicate. It can also be a skill in making business decisions, deciding should I go with this product or that product. All of these things are skills that you can learn through putting in the hours. So stop expecting that you're going to be absolutely great at everything in year 2. And also be realistic to yourself. I talk to so many people who say, I've been doing this for 3 years. I really thought I'd be farther. And I say, oh, well, did you commit 3 years ago to day 1 to make this a business? Oh no, I just started doing some stuff and selling it on the side. And then I took 6 months off and then I did this. That's fine. That's how many of us start our businesses. But realize that you're not actually on year 2. Maybe you're on month 3 because you just committed a couple months ago. So when you are judging where you are and how long it's taking, ask yourself, when did I really truly commit? And when did I start treating this like a business? When did I start showing up consistently? And then count from there and plan for it to at least take 5 years. I feel like this is a tough love episode. You guys know every once in a while I do an episode where I give you a bunch of tough love. So habit number 5, the book The Slight Edge calls this the burning desire backed by faith. And I could not think of a better way to word it. So I really like that phrase. And what it basically means is you need to want it, and then you need to believe it will happen. I meet a lot of people with burning desire, but to them, it's like a burning desire for a unicorn pony. It's just not something they believe is going to happen. So you got to get in the habit of feeling that you want the thing enough to work hard at it, and then also believing that it's possible. Because if you want something really bad, but you believe that you're not the kind of person who can do it, or that it never really happens, or it never works out, it's not going to happen and it's not going to work out. Not because of some magical thinking makes it so, but because you won't do the work. If you don't believe you can make it happen, you won't do the work. So you have to actually believe it's within the realm of possibility, within the universe that you live in and the person of who you are, or you're not going to do the work. You're going to put it off. You're going to think, well, that's not really going to work out for me. So what should you do if you want it, but you don't yet believe it's possible? I have 2 options for you. more tough love. Number one, shift your belief. If you don't believe it's possible, then you need to find examples of it being possible. Find people who are doing the thing you want to do. Don't copy what they're doing or try to emulate them perfectly. Tell yourself, if they can do it, I can do it. This is actually a friend said that he was seeing somebody successful, and he said, you know what I keep telling myself when I see those people being successful? If they can do it, I can do it. That's exactly what we're talking about. Find examples of people who are doing it and tell yourself, if they can do it, I can do it. Best if you find examples of people who are hot messes. So don't just read those lifestyle blogs where everybody has everything together and they eat perfect cupcakes every day. Instead, read something like the Bloggess, or some huge blog or best-selling author who's just ridiculous. If they can do it, you can do it. Read up on what it takes and commit to doing it. This is also a reason why I read a lot of biographies, because, man, human beings are messed up, and yet they still make amazing things happen and have amazing careers and have amazing lives. So, your first option is to shift your belief. Do the work it takes to shift your belief by finding other people who have made it happen. The second thing that you can do is to change your goal to something that does seem doable. Now, this is the much less sexy version, much less rah-rah cheerleading, but you're actually going to do the work to make the thing happen if you believe it's possible. So why don't you bring that goalpost a little closer to you within what seems to be the realm of your possibility? I'm telling you that once you hit that goalpost, you'll set another one. So you will eventually get to that dreamy place that you didn't ever believe was possible. But go in and bring that goalpost closer to you if you just really don't see a way to make it happen. The big dream, make the dream, don't shrink it, cut off a chunk of it and work on this chunk. Scale it down to the thing you think is possible, and then knowing you can always expand back out. So the sixth habit is to be willing to do the work. Guys, it's going to take a lot of work. That's it. You just got to be willing to do it. If you're not willing to put in the work, it's not going to happen. You can show up consistently on Instagram, but if you avoid the work of making your product or selling it to people, it's not going to happen. So it's not just that you do the work of marketing your work or sending emails or even making your product. It's that you do all of the work that it requires, even the things you want to avoid. And this lesson right now is for me. So be willing to do the work. Number 7, integrity. Integrity is key, and integrity needs to be your habit. So when I say integrity, I mean your actions line up with what you say, and your actions that you do even when no one's watching line up with what you say. So if you say you believe in fair trade, then you need to source fair trade supplies. If you say you want to support local farmers, you need to go buy from local farmers. If you say that you believe, this is a big one, if you believe in fair pay, that you should be paid as an artist, then when you hire someone to do some work for you, you should pay them fairly and don't grumble about it. So, and this is up for debate. Everybody needs to make their own decisions, but I talk a lot about helping women charge what they're worth for their artwork and the work that they're doing in the world. That's a big part of what I do in my classes. So when it comes time to hire a VA in my business, an assistant or a production assistant, what many people do is they hire people in the Philippines who charge $2 to $5 an hour to do the same kind of work that if you hire somebody in America will cost you $10 to $30 an hour. So because I help women in first world countries earn a fair pay from the work that they do, I feel like I have to pay women in first world countries fair pay for the work that they do. I can't say, oh no, you can charge tons for your artwork and then not ever pay for, artwork. I have to be in alignment in that way. And nobody would know, right? You guys wouldn't know who's doing these transcripts and uploading them online. By the way, her name is Holly and she's great. But I could do that, but I wouldn't be in integrity if I did that. So when you become a business owner, no matter what your business is, even if you don't have a podcast where you talk to people each week, you're going to become a public figure. What you do and what you say has to be in alignment or people will know. It will come out. There's actually just today, I read a big company pled guilty for lying about a big thing. And it's going to affect all the people in that company. So people will know when you're not in alignment. Now, if you fall out of alignment, People will notice, and that will hurt your business. That said, it happens to all of us. Just be honest when it happens, and your customers are going to be forgiving. So, for example, in my own business, I talk a lot about being consistent in your marketing, and because everybody's on Instagram, I say be consistent on Instagram, post every day, but I haven't been lately. So when it comes up, I say that. I say, hey, I know I always tell you to be consistent on Instagram, and you should. I haven't recently because I've been busy, so I get that it's hard, but it's still going to be the best practice. Even though I'm not doing the best practice right now, it's still the best practice. So that is what I mean when I say it's going to happen that you're going to fall out of alignment. You might say, like, I care most about customer support and making every customer happy, and then you just make some customer really unhappy and you're mad at them. That's okay. But you need to recognize those things you say about your business have to be in alignment with what you actually do in your business. So after a decade of me watching a lot of businesses come and go, especially in the handmade world, I can tell you with confidence, if you don't have integrity between what you present online and what you promise your customers with what you do, it will all fall apart and you will be miserable the whole time you're trying to hold it together. So we all know stories of people who promised a big thing and then didn't deliver. I've paid for a course where they'd never delivered past the first week. Super upsetting. There are yarn clubs that people have paid for 6 months and only got 1 month. There are all kinds of examples of people who just weren't in integrity. They promised something that they couldn't follow through with. So to create a happy business and to be really comfortable and feel successful, don't overpromise and don't act like you've got it all figured out when you don't yet. That's really all it is. Integrity is just being honest with yourself and being honest with other people. It doesn't mean that you have to broadcast all of your faults and failings. Just don't pretend like you don't have them. That's really it. So that's the 7th habit. Be with integrity. Those are the 7 things that if you started applying right now, your business is going to improve. Not immediately, because it's a long haul, baby, but your business will improve and will grow. So again, those are show up, be consistent, be aware of what you're looking for, and shift your filter if you need to, so you're not constantly focused on how you're failing at everything, because that will drag down the amount of actions you take. So be aware of what you're looking for, be committed to the long haul, believe that it's possible. So burning desire matched with unwavering faith. And then be willing to do the work and stay in integrity. If you do that and you apply those are going to change your business and they're going to keep you going when things get hard. There are definitely areas in there where I fall down all the time, right? Maybe I fall down on consistency. Maybe I am unwilling to do the hard work and so I put it off and I avoid it for a while. These are all things that we struggle with, but those are really the foundations of a business that's going to keep growing and it's going to stay consistent. So I want to know which one of those you need to focus on now. What are you working on right now in your business? Or which one do you need the most help with? I can do more episodes about any of these. Like I said, I have a lot about consistency and I have a lot about committing and being in it for the long haul. But let me know by posting a photo on Instagram. Use the hashtag explore your enthusiasm and you can tag me. I'm Tara Swiger. But use the hashtag explore your enthusiasm so you can chat with other listeners. Thank you so much for listening and I hope you have an excellent day.